Today we are going to be looking at Power BI subscriptions and alerts. So just to recap, last time we downloaded the Power BI template from the ABR portal, opened the template in Power BI desktop, connected the template to our tenant data by generating and deploying an API key, and finally published our newly created port to the Power BI service. So next we need to look at what we can do with this report data. Firstly, we can look at email subscriptions. If we go to our workspace and go to our report, we can click on subscribe on the top ribbon. We can click create a subscription, choose standard, give the subscription a name. The recipient is myself for test purposes. You could choose to attach a PDF or PowerPoint view of the report, but that's quite a static view, so I'm going to leave that as none in this instance. You can schedule when the emails send, either hourly, daily, weekly, or monthly. I'll leave these settings as they are for test purposes. Under more options, you could add email subject and message if you wish to. Set permissions to view the report, a link to the report, and a little thumbnail report page preview. So we can click on save. If we go back into the subscription, we can click send now. If I go over to my inbox, you can see what that email looks like from the receiver's perspective. So we have the thumbnail, title, link to the Power BI report. It's quite a nice looking email. You can go back and edit the subscription at any point and add further recipients once you are happy with the email contents. Now you might want to set a subscription on a subset of the report. Say send the events section to your cyber team. In this case, go to the relevant section, click on the three dots on the top ribbon, click pin to a dashboard. Create a new dashboard. Pin live. Go to that newly created dashboard. We can then subscribe to that dashboard and go through the same process as we did before. So I'll send it to me for test purposes. Schedule, I'll leave as is, daily. I'll just add in events report into the subject line. I'll click save. Again, I can go back in, click send now, and that should send an email over to my inbox. If we pop over to my inbox, you can see the new events report subscription with a link to the dashboard, which I can click on, and that takes me to the subset of the data we configured as before. We can now move on to the subject of alerts, which can be a bit more complicated. Alerts can be set on any values within a report that are subject to change. There are multiple ways to set alerts in Power BI. You could use the set alert option from a report and use Microsoft Fabric Activator to add more specific customization to the alert. However, this option requires an additional license for Fabric Activator and in my opinion does not give the value add that would warrant the extra license cost. My preferred option is to set up a basic dashboard alert and then use PowerAutomate to add additional customization. Firstly, we need to set up a basic dashboard alert. This email alert contains very little information other than the value for the alert has changed. This alert can be taken and configured in PowerAutomate to then send emails and/or Teams messages. So let's take a look at that. If we take an example, your cyber team might want to know how often a break glass account is created within your organization. It's not necessarily an alert situation, but for security purposes, you might want to know how many times a full admin account is being issued. If we go to our report, Go to the events section. Under the events code, if we drill down into that and look for break glass account created, that will give us the current count of instances. So now we want to create a dashboard for this particular event. So if we hover over the right side of total events, click on the pin, select new dashboard, give the dashboard a name, click pin. We also need to go to the event code and do the same thing. So we pin to the same dashboard, pin that. We go over to our dashboard we've just created, and we can arrange the visuals as we want to. So from here we can hover over the top again, 3 dots on the current instance count, click Manage Alerts, click on Add an Alert Rule, enter a suitable title, click at most once an hour. We'll leave the Send Me Email To ticked for now so we can see what that looks like. We can click Save and Close. If I pop over to my inbox, I can show you what that alert looks like. As you can see, not a lot of information, only that the value has changed. So if we return to our dashboard, we can then use PowerAutomate to add some customization. So again, click on the 3 dots on the instance count, click Manage Alerts. At the bottom, click PowerAutomate to trigger additional actions. Click on Continue. I prefer the old designer, so we'll switch back to that. Give a unique name for your new flow, and we'll rename it there as well. In the drop down, we'll select the alert that we're going to track. In this case, PowerBI alert, break class account created. We click on that. If we click on New Step, Office 365 Outlook, and we're looking for Send an Email version V2. For test purposes, I'm going to send an email to myself. In the subject body, I can use dynamic content from the alert title. And in the body of the email, I'll copy and paste for quickness some text. And now change the font to say 18, make it bold, change the font size, make it a little bigger for the wording. Now we can create an embedded link. So we can link out straight to the ABR events report. So if we highlight the wording there, we'll link out to the Admin By Request portal events report. Click link, copy and paste the path, open the link in a new window and click add. If we go back and do a return on that to make sure it takes effect, we click on save. And now we have our flow. We can test it by clicking the test button in the top right. Click on manual because it's never been run before and click on test. So we can now see what that looks like from a recipient perspective. We go to my inbox, we can see break glass account has been created on one of your endpoints. Please see the ABR events report for further details, with a link out to the ABR events report. You will need to sign in, of course, but I would have thought most of the time you'll be signed in anyway. If your HTML coding skills are good, there's a lot more that can be done with the contents of this email. Just as a quick example, I grabbed some code and was able to produce this in a relatively short amount of time. So I think you'll agree that looks far more professional. And it's just an example of the power that you can put into customization on these emails. If we go back over to PowerAutomate, we can now look at setting up a Teams alert. So if we add a new step, filter on Teams, there's a particular option we're looking for is called post choice of options as the flow bot to a user. So simply search on bot in this case, and this is the entry we're looking for. So under options item 1, we can select the alert title. Similarly on the subject line, we'll add an email address, which is myself for test purposes. And on the message, I'll copy and paste something I've done. You will note that you have to put the link title in square brackets followed by the web address in regular brackets. If we click save on that, again, we can test the flow by clicking on test. You can go to automatically this time as it's been run before. And we can click save and test. If we go over to my Teams message, we can see under workflows in Teams, I've got the alert with a link out once again to the ABR events report. So now we have created a PowerBI alert from a dashboard and added specific customizations and flow with PowerAutomate.